Become aware of your intrapersonal spare time, the time that is ours, like it or not, every moment of our waking lives, the time in which we are thinking, feeling, experiencing what it is to be who we are. Even describing it that way feels ominous, maybe even frightening. Most of us have not previously even considered applying principles of time management to this ongoing process. But it is from this automatic process that our experience of life takes shape. And in the midst of so much of life that happens beyond our sphere of influence, how we manage our intrapersonal time is ultimately up to us. Intrapersonal time management falls in the Serenity Prayer short list, things we can change, things about ourselves. It says, try this for at least a day or two, as if you are an outside observer. Pay attention to how you use your time to think and feel as you just walk around your daily life. I don't know about you, but my mind's talking to me all the time.
When you do that exercise, what do you notice about the way that you experience time?
One of the things I've learned is how much time I waste. I mean, absolute wasted time. Which is basically thinking about, or if you're looking at, if I'm thinking about back and forth thinking in my head of the kind of intrapersonal conversation, batting things around in there that basically there is no way that what I am thinking, how I am thinking about it is going to benefit me in any way. Like for instance, worrying about something that I have, worrying about something that I need to do more of, or I need to do, but I'm not doing it. Okay.
Well, I'd like to give you something. This is going to be the $100 bill you found in your pocket. You didn't even know you had you don't have the social media monster sitting in on your committee, poking you in the eye every spare minute of every day. That's a bullet that you dodged that I'm riddled with. Is it's a presence for so many of us now. Social media addiction, this kind of like, virtual space that we're all kind of like, at least partially existing on now.
Yeah.
And you don't seem to, have that addiction. You haven't let it in. And thank God for that, because that's all that extra real estate now that you have to think about other shit.
I appreciate that, because I'm a big believer. It's really nice. Sometimes I'll tell people this as advice. I'll go, take time every day to think of problems you don't have. It's like, and those can be problems that you have had and solved, or that you become good at handling. They can be problems that that other people have. It'll make you feel a little guilty when you do this, but it's like it still goes to gratitude. You think about problems that other people have that you don't have, and then there's even another category, which is problems that you probably don't think about because you'll never have them. It's like, and you know that you're not ever going to have them, but it's like, so if I have a friend who's troubled about some problems with their children, and my friends my age have, older adult kids, but it's like, I can actually take that and use it to my advantage and go like, whew, dodged a bullet. I had debilitating back pain for about 4 years. That was really made me feel like an old man, and really slowed me down and kept me from doing a lot of things. And I kept looking for ways to heal that, and did find a way, and it got resolved entirely. And so that every single day that I can walk up and down our steps without any pain, or for you talk about working in the barn with Dee Dee, if I can throw a bag of feed on my shoulder. For years I couldn't do that at all. I couldn't even put the strap of my briefcase on my shoulder without pain. So it's always that far away. The other piece I use a lot of times is, I think, Dee Dee, my wife, was 2008. She was hospitalized and was in intensive care, incommunicado for a week straight. And nobody knew it was kind of like a Dr. House case. Nobody knew what was wrong with her. And I spent a week being terrified that I was never going to speak to her again, never see her again, ultimately. And I always tell her, I said, I have the advantage of spending that week alone being that scared, because anytime I need to feel grateful for the relationship, all I need to do is go back to that. And so whatever the little minor complaint I was getting ready to, bitch about, it's like, it really just dissipates. It just kind of goes away. And because I go, oh, okay, I got perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So,
well, on both counts, God, I'm just glad that, you proved out. You both did. That's savage. Wow.
Have you seen the movie, the Rocky Balboa, the last movie?
Oh yeah. I've seen all of them. Yeah, I love them.
But you've seen but the last one was really the bookend for the first one, which is beautiful.
You almost don't need. I mean, I love all the movies for different reasons, but you could just see those two, I think, and you can kind of get the whole arc.
Yeah, that movie redeemed any question I had about Sylvester Stallone as in terms of what he was doing with the other stuff and as a writer and everything else. But there's one scene where he comes at the beginning of the fight at the end, and the fighter, he's the young man he's fighting says, "You're a crazy old man." And do you remember what Rocky's response is?
No, I forgot
it's
that.
Perfect. You probably don't get it unless you're an old man. He says, "You'll get there."
Right.
Our job every day in our life is to get up and be the best version of ourselves that we can be. And if we're doing that, even if the world's going to hell, it's like, if I'm doing that, then I'm doing what I can do.
That makes me feel a bit better about my inability to really do much about the other stuff.
People need to stop fighting about their way being the best way. This whether that be through religion or politics or whatever. It's like, we're right, you're wrong. Everything's so divisive. And in fact, the truth is, if we're all seeking, wisdom, if we're all seeking, how to be the best versions of ourselves, it's like, it's really not that hard to find.
That there's just a lot of like people whose behavior has been tweaked because of their addiction. That are really, they're good people. They've just been thwarted.
So I wrote a book called Earning Your Own Respect. It's about just that. It's about being consciously aware of value system, and not just the big values like don't kill anybody for no good reason, but what really matters to us. And it goes back to exactly what I was just describing a minute ago, which is being your best self but having that be an operational way of measuring that is, how congruently am I living with my value system? What I say and do need to be, we're not going to do it perfectly. Pursuing self-respect as opposed to just pursuing happiness sometimes calls for some tough decisions, and it can be very different. You can make some tough decisions that are not that call for some real guts to do things, but ultimately you're going to feel better.
She called it knowing how to belong to ourselves. Self-esteem.
Yes.
Which I just thought was beautiful.
Which really fits with Alan's thing, because Alan always talks about holding on to yourself. It's like, so I love that idea that we're, and everybody, I guess we all have our language for that, because one of the ways I talk about it is being in charge. I'm not in control of so many things, most things, but I'm in charge of myself. Of course, we live in a world where so many of us who show up in therapy and stuff are so shame-based and stuff like that, is helping people understand that it's okay to have the capacity to do some things, to be good at some things, and choose not to do them. I'm going to be really down on myself if just because I can do something, it means I have to do it.
Right.
It's personal. We get to choose.